2026 for inspection of Hotel Barrag Heights in Himachal Pradesh for its potential impacts on environment, ecology, and safety to comply with the orders of the High Court of Himachal Pradesh. Dr. Juvarkar unfortunately died in the plane crash near Kulu while returning from Shimla. The institute organizes Dr. Ashok S. Juvarkar Memorial Lecture every year as a tribute to late Dr. Ashok S. Juvarkar. Today's webinar on ecotechnology for wastewater treatment has been organized in the memory of late Dr. Ashok S. Juvarkar, former head Land, Environment and Management Division, NEERI. Dr. Suhas Vani, ex-director International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, ICRISAT, and Engineer Shripad Lele, ex-Vice President Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemicals Private Limited, have joined us as guest speakers. Now may I request our director, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, to give opening remarks, please.
Thank you, Dr. Kumbhare. Thank you, Dr. Sadhana. Welcome to our guest sir today. Welcome, Subhashji, for this event. Thank you for taking your time and joining us today and addressing NEERI staff. And as Kumbhare mentioned, today we are here to remember one of our finest scientists NEERI has produced. Of course, there are many outstanding contributions by NEERI colleagues, but I think the contributions of Ashok Juvarkar ji are noteworthy. And it makes us more connected to Juvarkar ji, that who lost his life while he was on duty. I think while he was going to Shimla to take care of some of our projects, I think there was a plane crash, and it's always good to remember those leaders and get motivation, especially under these distress times, and look at those pioneering contributions of colleagues like Dr. Juvarkar. It only reminds he went to Toronto to meet his sister, and on the way back, he was in the flight Kanishka, and then there was a Air India crash, and then we lost also Dr. Naidamma in the aircraft. So just be reminded when I was reading the backdrop of Ashok Juvarkar ji, I remember just Naidamma, the great contributions he also has made to CSIR. Coming to the land rejuvenation and wastewater management, I think these are the two essential commodities which are becoming scarce on this planet. I think as urbanization happens, we are eating away more and more land, and certainly how we could regenerate the lands what we have and get more crops out of the little land what we are preserving for future. Similarly, water, we all know that as the sea takes over land, I think we have more and more of seawater and less of potable water, and how we can really rejuvenate our water resources. I think both are very important areas, and I think Dr. Ashok Juvarkar's work contributions, if we remember today, I think I'm sure we all get motivated and we start getting charged up to do a better science for tomorrow. I'm sure today's speaker will enlighten us on the contributions of the environment and how we are going to make sure that we hand over the nature to our next generations without further damages. We have seen the kind of global warmings recently. We never heard that Canada will get a temperature of 47 degrees and people dying there. And we never thought Paris people will like to develop air conditioning in their houses. I think we are really towards a bad phase, and certainly NEERI has an important role, and today's guest I'm sure will enlighten us on how we are going to handle this. In these few remarks, again paying tributes to the great scientist Ashok Juvarkar ji.
Of IICT, distinguished speakers, invitees, participants, my colleagues and students of CSIR-NEERI, very good morning to you all. I am pleased to welcome you all for this webinar on eco-technology for wastewater treatment, which has been organized as a tribute to late Dr. Ashok Juvarkar. For such a distinguished and stimulating gathering, today's webinar is designed to address various issues related to natural-based solutions for resilient and smart wastewater treatment and management. This is part of series of lectures which has been organized by our institute for past several years. I think it's nearly 24 years since 1996. Well, today in the webinar, it is aimed to provide key inputs to the wastewater treatment and management by the eminent speakers. On behalf of Director, myself, Team CSIR-NEERI, and entire fraternity of practitioners of wastewater treatment management who are attending through this online platform, I extend a special and warm welcome to the two distinguished guest speakers of today for gracing this important webinar and sharing with us your insights and opinions. The first lecture shall be delivered by Dr. Suhas Wani, and he will be speaking on challenges and opportunities for scaling up HRTS, which is high rate transpiration system for recycling and safe reuse of wastewater. Now, just for a very quick introduction of our eminent speaker, Dr. Suhas Wani. He is the ex-director of Development Center at International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, also known as ICRISTAT, at Patan, Cheru. His area of specialization is scaling up science-based interventions to benefit millions of farmers in Asia and Africa. His expertise spans a wide range of areas such as integrated watershed management, wasteland development, wastewater management, biodiesel plantation, integrated nutrient management, and carbon sequestration for the conservation of natural resources and their sustainable use for improving livelihoods in the semi-arid tropics. Dr. Wani is University Gold Medalist. He has served the country in many capacities as an expert to address the members of the Parliament Forum on Water Conservation and Management, and also as a member of Working for National Initiative on Climate Resilient Agriculture launched by ICAR. He is also in the advisory committee for natural resources management and climate change in MS Swaminathan Research Foundation of Chennai. He is the honorary trustee of SM Sehgal Foundation and the Institute of Rural Research and Development. He has also served as a member of Sustainable Agriculture Advisory Board, which is also known as SAB of Unilever. Dr. Wani has received many honors and awards, most notably the National Groundwater Augmentation Award conferred by Ministry of Water Resources, Dorian Marshall Award, and Best ICAR Award. He is coordinating a number of multidisciplinary and multi-country projects in the area of sustainable natural resource management for improving livelihoods and building resilience of the farmers. Dr. Wani has published 492 research papers in international and national scientific journals and has supervised 6 PhD students. Well, coming to the second lecture, the second lecture shall be delivered by Engineer Shripad Lele, which again is related to HRTS, wherein he shall be focusing on the need of greening industrial zones and urban farming using HRTS. Engineer Shripad Lele is a chemical engineer with diploma in industrial safety and operational risk management. He also holds a MBA degree. He has worked at Diamond Shamrock Limited, RCL, that is Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited, and Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemicals Corporation Limited in various capacities. During last 38 years, he worked on projects, operation, materials, environment, safety, research, and development in all these industries. Engineer Shripad has held various significant positions in these industries, including being the Vice President of Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemical Corporation Limited. He has expertise on innovative chemical technologies and experience in research and training. He was the chairman of CETP Taloja MIDC and also coordinator of Mutual Aid Response Group, Raigad District. Engineer Lele has led the teams for rehabilitation at Khilari earthquake, Bhuj Kutch earthquake, and Nagapattinam tsunami. Currently, he is working for pollution abatement in agriculture. Well, Dr. Ashok Jwarkar has already been introduced by my colleague, Dr. Kumbare. So, as a very fitting tribute to a committed and competent environmental scientist, I now invite Dr. Vani to deliver the invited lecture. Dr. Vani, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure and privilege basically to deliver the lecture in the honor of late Dr. Ashok Jwarkar. Let me also thank the director, Dr. Chandrasekhar, Sadhna ji, as well as Prakash for opportunity provided to me on this particular topic. I will share my presentation. Basically, I will go through the presentation as such, and I hope it is available.
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
we can see this.
Okay.
Yes.
The topic which I have taken up is basically challenges and opportunities for scaling up of high respiration transpiration systems, high rate transpiration systems for recycling and safe reuse of wastewater. The topic why I selected this is, as we have heard in the introduction, that the technology was developed in 1994-95 by Dr. Jwarkar, and still we find that many of the industries, in spite of the regulations, they release the water untreated, which becomes the problem for the surrounding villages, the agriculture, as well as contaminate the water bodies. And what are the lacunae for scaling up the solutions? That's what basically I will be handling during this 20 minutes time, which has been allotted to me. If we know, as Dr. Chandrasekhar has indicated, that our emerging challenge for the 21st century is the water scarcity and environmental degradation. I will not go into very much depth of each of these things because it is very obvious that as the global population is increasing, as well as the Indian population is increasing, land and water, which are the finite resources, are declining per capita. For example, if we look into the water availability in India, in 1951, per capita availability was 5,000 plus cubic meters per year. Whereas in 2014, it has come down to 1,500 cubic meters per capita per year, and expected to be around 1,230 cubic meters per capita by 2050, when our population will be almost 1.7 billion. And same is the case with the land, and land also is becoming another problem of land degradation because of the inappropriate management practices which we are adopting, or the farmers are adopting at the moment. And this is happening in spite of game-changing technologies available for land management, water management, wastewater management, and also the pollution management. And as a result, we are seeing that 22% of India's groundwater has dried up or is in critical state. And this year's data, which has been released recently, shows that it is on increase as such. And that's where our challenge comes, that how we are going to make basically the population self-sufficient in terms of food security, in terms of nutrition security, as well as income security. And all these things are very much related with internal security as well as the external security of the nation. And as the Atmanirbhar Bharat we are talking at the moment, we definitely need quite a lot of distance to be covered. And that's where the role of the scientist for ensuring that the technologies which have been developed, which have been proven, need to be scaled up so that the farmers get the benefit and we are able to see the impact on the ground of the new technologies. You will be surprised to note that in spite of having very high research in the area of agriculture in the country, the yield gap on the farmer's field, that is the current farmer's yield, and what is the potential with the given soil and given water availability and given weather, is anywhere between 2 to 5 times difference. And that's what we need to be worrying about. Fortunately, India has highest arable land in the world, followed by US and China. We have wide variety of agroeco regions in the country. We have 100 agroeco sub-regions in the country, so that we have minimum of 135 millimeter of rainfall, as well as the highest rainfall in the world also is in India. In spite of that, country is facing the water shortage. Country is having the potential to feed the world, not only the India, what we are currently doing. And that's where basically the responsibility lies on all stakeholders to ensure that the new technologies, which are cutting edge technologies, are adopted by the farmers. When we talk about water scarcity, basically we are in the stage of physical water scarcity in India. 1/3 of the country is almost facing the physical scarcity of water. That means we don't have the water resources available physically as such. Whereas Africa, it is the economic water scarcity, because they have the water available, but they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the resources to tap that water, and that is referred as economic water scarcity. And of course, institutional water scarcity, where the rights are not defined or clear, is referred as the institutional water scarcity. We have the different types of waters available, like blue water, which is the soil moisture. And whenever we talk about the water availability, everyone starting from policymakers up to the farmers talk about the green water. That is what water I can apply to the soil from the surface water or from the groundwater. But 2/3 of the water which is used for crop production, it is the blue water, the green water, which is the one stored in the soil, and that's where basically minimum usage of the green water is there, and we lose lot of green water through unproductive evaporation as such. Another thing of the gray water is available is a problem in terms of the pollution of the water resources, land, as well as the health issues, but it is perennially available. So that is where the technologies have to be put in place on the large scale up, so that we get the benefit of this perennial availability of the water to address the issues of water scarcity. And for your kind info, the agriculture is a major consumer of water. In India, almost 80% of water withdrawal, which we do, is for the agriculture purpose as such. So this wastewater or the gray water, what we are looking at, is not to be looked as a problem, but it should be considered as a valuable resource which can be tapped, and lot of issues can be sorted out, lot of problems can be sorted out. And it is a domestic or industrial wastewater, which is a perennial source of water to be used. Every village, you will come across that the wastewater is flowing on the road, creating the health problems as well as the nuisance value. It has quite a lot, and the current government's efforts for Namami Gange as well as also for water awareness are very much laudable. India produces almost 6.2 billion liters of untreated industrial wastewater every day, and almost 1.3 billion liters of raw sewage and 250 million liters of industrial effluent are added to the Ganges River daily. And that is where the treatment of this sewage water or the industrial wastewater must be put it in place so that the ecosystem of the rivers is restored and people are able to get their livelihoods through the fish, as well as minimize the health issues, and also can be happily used for the water resource for travel and other things. Typical constituents basically of the industrial or the sewage water is the total soluble solids, biochemical oxygen demand, the chemical oxygen demand, fats and oils, colors, salts, heavy metals, etc., which are not to be permitted for putting into the groundwater or onto the soil. Industrial wastewater generated in India can irrigate around 1 million hectare land, and that's where we need to really look at as a potential resource rather than the issue as such. However, we need to ensure that it is safe use of wastewater, and that is a challenge which we need to really resolve. Under Swachh Bharat mission, Government of India has put Water Plus, the highest category of rating the states as well as the districts. As per the definition, cities must satisfy 3 criteria to be declared Water Plus, the highest rating in the Swachh Bharat mission. That is 100% of domestic, industrial and commercial wastewater must be treated. There should be adequate capacity to treat wastewater and sewage, and infrastructure should be properly maintained, and cost recovery should be ensured through the reuse and or recycling of treated wastewater. So this cost recovery is one of the important driver for success, basically for scaling up the things. So when we talk about the economic case of wastewater supply, most of the modern wastewater treatment plants are capital intensive and require the use of innovative technologies, and most of the industries basically they try to avoid it mainly because of the capital intensive nature as well as the high cost of maintenance for sensors, Internet of Things, devices, artificial intelligence based trackers, etc. The high upfront capital requirements in machinery is the strongest deterrent for the industries basically to adopt the technologies. Current approaches for treatment of industrial wastewater, basically all of us are aware about physical treatment, chemical treatment, biological treatment, and tertiary treatments are available, and depending on the nature of the pollution in the water, appropriate technologies can be used. For example, for treating the domestic wastewater into the villages, simple constructed wetlands can serve the purpose, and the water which comes out is agriculturally safe for use in the irrigation as such. Whereas in other places where you have the heavy metals, colors, etc., definitely you need the chemical treatments or the tertiary treatment using the filters as well as the osmosis, reverse osmosis, etc., which are quite costly affairs as such. So what basically we need for more elaborative wastewater management system is that the conventional wastewater treatment systems are costly, capital and operational expenditures are high, and of course to remove the color from the industrial wastewaters are not economically viable at plant scale. Therefore, CSIR-NEERI has developed the safe disposal of tannery wastewater using the HRTS system as such, and that was the starting point as such. Why we have high rate transpiration systems to be used? Basically, we are trying to address these issues through by adopting the rule of the golden circle, that most of the time we don't know why we are doing particular things. We know what we want to do, but we don't know why and how it need to be done, and that's the thing which we need to look at that. We need to look at the HRTS because untreated disposal of wastewater contaminates groundwater as well as soil. Available technologies are capital intensive, need regular investment. Economical, environment-friendly approach is required for safe disposal of industrial wastewater to meet zero discharge standard as required by the Government of India regulatory bodies. HRTS provides economical, environment-friendly and scalable method for treating industrial wastewater. It consists of appropriate landform. It can be ridge and furrow, it can be broadbed and furrows, depending on the type of soil. We need the high transpiration potential plant species to be used, the filter bed media for treatment of wastewater for adsorption, etc. is required. And that's where basically these are the components. This is the NEERI's HRTS model, which has been used at many of the pilot sites by the NEERI as such, along with the industry as such. So this zero discharge, sustainable, economical and eco-friendly HRTS is a low-cost method to treat large volumes of wastewater, produce the biomass and provide ecosystem services such as groundwater recharge, rehabilitation of degraded lands, carbon sequestration, recycling of nutrients, and meet the standard of zero liquid discharge. It has been approved by the Central Pollution Control Board for TDS containing wastewater. The high rate transpiration systems uses separation through filtration, adsorption, as we have already discussed. But such simple, cost-effective and environment-friendly technology, why is not upscaled wherever it can be applied by the industries as such? Why industries do the business of releasing untreated water in the nearby villages in the nights when their people are sleeping around? So when we look at that of any technology, basically I refer this as a death valley of impacts, because we have game-changing technologies for every field, whether it is agriculture, whether it is wastewater, whether it is IT, or whether it is industrial transformations. But most of the time, our technologies remain at the discovery stage or at the pilot stage, or maximum we go up to proof of concept. But when the question of impact comes on the ground, scaling up comes where millions of people should get the benefit. That's where basically we falter and fail. And that's the reason why these particular technologies are falling into this valley, and which is referred as the death valley of impact, because we have not addressed the issues of development research. We do the research for the sake of research, but we never look at, and for this, the recent paper by the Nature Ceres 2030 team, who has done the meta-analysis by studying more than 100,000 papers published globally, has come to the same conclusion that poverty in this world is not reduced, largely because scientists work in isolation. They do not want to work with the stakeholders like small farm holders as such. And for this, the blame is put at the doors of the research managers, because our evaluation systems are such that what papers you have published in which impact journal, rather than how much benefit because of your invention or your discovery has transformed the lives of the people. And that's where our system of looking at the performance of the scientist is one of the factors. Second thing which they have highlighted is that basically the publishers of the scientific journals also need to be blamed, because they do not consider the field research as the high quality research which can be applied globally. And that's where they don't encourage the small farm holders work research done on the village, in the villages, etc., as a good science for this sort of thing. And it's very heartening to note that except the CGIAR scientists, no scientists are working globally. I am just quoting the sentences from the Nature 2020 volume. that they work with the small farm holders or with the people with whom the technologies are directly associated. So it's a great lesson for us, and we need to pull up our socks very quickly and see that whatever the technologies we are doing are benefiting the stakeholders who are supposed to get the benefit. I can tell you the example from the constructed wetlands. This technology has been developed maybe 4 or 5 decades back, but still all the villages in India, including the cities, the satellite parts of the cities, you will find that the wastewater is just left into the tanks as such without treating as such. It is a very cost effective, but still it is not adopted by the municipalities, by the panchayats, and by the corporations in the cities also as such. And that's where we need to really look at it. So one thing is very sure, that business as usual won't work. We must know thy enemy. And I have no hesitation to tell that I am staying in Hyderabad near the Neredmet crossroad, which is the posh locality of the Defense Colony and Officers Colony, Air Force Colony and AS Rao Nagar and all that. But still, since last 3 years, we find that whenever the rains are there, most of the houses get the dirty water into their bathrooms. And in spite of the technologies available, in spite of the resources available, the address issue is not taken case. And that's where basically we know the enemy first, what is there. We need to understand that it needs a holistic and integrated approach. The days of individual disciplines, individual scientists working in isolation has gone. Now we need to build the partnerships. We need to provide the integrated holistic solutions, and we need to transform the sector into a business model rather than saying that I have done my research, I have published my paper, now it is the responsibility of someone else to take care of it forward. Science-led and demand-driven innovations. We must work on the demand-driven thing rather than the supply-driven thing. It should be evolutionary and mission approach. It should be completely, every time we are able to refine the approach, whatever we are doing. And of course, we need to converge and build the partnerships to achieve the impact. And partnerships are through consortium. It has to be with the public-private partnerships, with the industries, with the business houses, with the municipalities, with the politicians, with the public as such. And that's where the mission like Swachh Bharat mission has shown the impact, that how important it is if you integrate with the people and involve the people in the decision making as well as taking the actions and reward them appropriately, then the models become successful. So process of innovating hybrid solutions, basically through the development agencies, through the development investors and the policymakers, with researchers, corporates, youth, we need to put it in place, and that's where we need to bring in the hybridization for scaling it up our technologies. When we want to transform the wastewater sector, we need to ensure that it becomes not a subsistence as such for the scientists, but it should become a business model. People who are investing in that, they should see the benefit coming out of that particular technology. And HRTS is one technology from which you can get the benefit in terms of economic returns. Same way is we have shown it in the decentralized wastewater treatment in the villages, working with through integrated water resource management in watershed management, that farmers, families are able to get the benefit of the investment, whatever 5 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees are done by the panchayat, the recovery is within 1 to 2 years as such. Then we need to bring in the mechanization, efficient use of resources, and of course, climate change, as was indicated by our director of NEERI, need to look at that what are the change scenarios which we need to address. What to do for sustainable management of wastewater, as the government of India has ranked the cities for the thing, rewarding them appropriately for managing the water resources properly. And that's where we need to see that most of the states need to do still far to achieve the required status of as such. And the most important thing is what gets measured gets delivered. And that's what the adoption is there in the Swachh Bharat mission, that every town, every municipality, every corporation is judged every 6 months, and then based on that, the marks are given. So most of our drivers of success for scaling up are, we need to ensure that it should be demand driven rather than the supply driven. It should be tangible, provide tangible economic benefits to all stakeholders through integrated approach. It should be knowledge-based intervention. We need to have the equal partnership, build the trust, and should have shared vision among the consortium partners. Of course, it needs good local leadership, and to form a consortium and run the consortium successfully, it's a challenge for the leadership because your transaction costs are high, but the impacts are also very big after 1 or 2 years of the consortium formation. And that's where basically we need to bring in the right partners for the right problems to be solved as such. Predisposition to work collectively for community and nation development. Unfortunately, the Indian mentality, as we know from the beginning, that it used to be told to us when we were the students that if you have to export the Indian frogs, you don't need the lead to that particular can, because the moment one frog tries to jump out, the other 10 frogs will pull his or her leg backward. And that's where basically we need to change our mindset, that we need to work in the team. We need to capitalize on the strengths of the partners or the team members and overlook basically the weaknesses. And we need to build the partnerships accordingly. We need to have transparency and social vigilance in our dealings, equity through low-cost technologies, innovation, so that the poorest of the poor get the benefit. And most important is the empowerment for the stakeholders for that. In conclusion, basically, wastewater management must be made a public movement to become everyone's business, and not only the pollution control board and the industries who play hide and seek with each other. And basically, industry finds it is easy to manage the pollution who come for inspection rather than doing the technology on the ground to get the benefit. Water is a critical for life, health, and also food security is linked with nutrition and poverty as well as national security. Sustainable management of wastewater is must for sustainable agri-food systems and sustainable development. Recycling and safe reuse of wastewater will not only ensure clean environment, food nutrition and income security for the nation, but will make India strong globally, competitive and happy nation by addressing the sustainable development goals of no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, as well as good quality of water for all and the climate action as such. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much. It is very enlightening lecture that you have told that there is need of scaling up technologies for wastewater treatment. And it is also true that wastewater after essential treatment could be a potential resource for water management. And nature-based technologies have promising future that you have very much nicely highlighted in your lecture. So thanks for your vital message given in this context. Now I am profusely elated to take an opportunity to invite our next guest speaker, Engineer Shripad Lele. Sir, we are eagerly looking forward to your address, please. Sir, you are on mute, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, respected all guests, distinguished guests, and scientists of NEERI and CSIR, and my dear friends. Dr. Vani has given a elaborated lecture on the particularly our transpiration HRTS system and value of the water. I also want to extend in the same line the total picture of the water in India and what will be the most important importance of the transpiration system to be used for the water recycle. We all know that the major sources of the water for India are two. One is the monsoon. The whole country gets water from the monsoon, and which is used for the complete urban level, rural level, agriculture, industry, and everything. And second, our source of the water is indirect, that is Himalaya. Himalaya gives water from different rivers, and half of the country, that is the north of India, is getting full water from the rivers. And south of the India is giving water from the monsoon, indirectly from the monsoon, and directly from the monsoon, and again from the rivers. This same water, we are immediately consuming it for our different purposes. Actually, water per capita at different levels in cities as well as in the village ranges from 700 liter to 700 liter. At some, it is more also, but average water consumption is from 100 liter is the minimum requirement at some places, drought places, but 700 at rich places where the water is amply available. But for the industrial consumption and water consumption in the cities is again equal. What industry consumes is equal quantity what city consumes for their livelihood. Agriculture consumption is not yet defined because agriculture is a seasonal requirement at many places, and it is not yet defined, as sometimes it is more requirement, sometimes it is less, and it depends upon the harvest, it depends upon the watering sessions. Some of the sugarcane like crops consumes a more watering, but it is not yet defined that this much quantity of the total water is consumed for the agriculture. But definitely the consumption for the agriculture is not less than again 50% of the total consumption. We can very well say we worship water as one of the Panchamahabhut. We give importance to the water for every religious activity. But do we maintain the same sanctity, holiness for the water? Answer is definitely not. We don't give importance for the flowing water also. We take bath, we become pavitra, holy from the water, but the same water in the river is not praised like a holy water, and we allow it to make dirt, allow it to make waste by adding all type of waste into water, even the flowing water. We throw our all dirt in the water, we allow to go in that water, and accordingly the all water, flowing water are getting wasted, and we say it's the flowing water is the holy water, but it doesn't remain holy, doesn't remain as pure, but it also became a wastewater along with that. And that's why we have to give maximum importance to keep our flowing rivers clean and not adding our wastewater treatment plant or outlet of the wastewater treatment plant in a flowing water. That is the most important thing. The major problem of our water, wastewater, is our overpopulation or not even correct planning for the population distribution. The major population is in the cities. Maximum water from the dams and rivers is diverted to cities, and city creates lot of wastewater. The whole wastewater, either it goes in a SWP plant, and SWPs are treating the water. But what happens to that SWP treated water? Does it go again for the reuse? The answer is no. The same water is again released to rivers or oceans, and the same water which is treated going to back to the rivers creates again a pollution to the river, because that water, though it is treated in SWPs, doesn't meet a potable standard. Our haphazard population increment in the cities, diversion from the villages to urbanization, also has created this problem. Second thing is a careless approach by the users. We use the water and allow it to waste many times. We use water more and doesn't keep our use limited for that particularly use only. We allow our car to wash, we allow our houses and floors to wash, but allow that water to get mixed with the other good sources of the water. So that sanctity we have to make all the time to keep our water use limited for this purpose. Second thing is unlimited, insufficient use of the treated water also. We have some, particularly at some places like Mumbai or Delhi or these cities, the MBR technology is there. The water is treated from the sewage plant, and lot of the quantity from the sewage plants, treated water is again allowed to release in the river or the ocean. This treated water we must use as a source at our for our different purposes. The industrial water, actually what we use, 80% of the industrial use water is going to ETPs. ETP, after the first primary treatment, secondary treatment, or even tertiary treatment, that water is released to CETPs of many of the MIDCs. At CETPs, there is no separate treatments for different actually zones or different industrial zones. I have seen many MIDCs having food sectors, having electronic centers, having metallurgical sectors, or and chemical sectors also. And all these effluent treatment water, different effluents from the treatment plant goes in CETP, and CETP contains some streams contains high BODs, some streams contains high CODs, some streams contain high suspended solids, and total water receiving in the CETP is beyond the scope of the treatment, because the treatment on individual stream is not happening, and it is getting totally added in CETP incoming session, and it goes beyond the treatment. Many times food waste or high BODs in the water and high CODs in the water gets itself reacted into CETP receivers and create maximum pollutants in that water. Some CODs and BODs get released after 2 days, 3 days, and COD and BOD gets automatically increased in CETP treatment. So basically, before adding water in CETPs, primary treatment has to be completed for individual branches of the industries. That is, so the food sector is there. The food sector water should be collected at one place, should be treated for their BOD, and after that treatment, it should be sent to CETP. Same thing with the chemical industries. The chemical COD of the water has to be taken action first. That chemicals has to be broken first, has to be removed first, and then that effluent water has to be sent to CETP. Same thing is with the metal industry. Many times the metal industry, some cyanides and other materials also get added into the CETPs, and the total COD of the total CETP gets increased in millions, and beyond control it happens due to the metallic industry. Same thing is with the petrochemical industries. The chemicals and the oils added with the ETPs, even the grease layers also, it creates a problem for treatment in CETPs. If the individual streams are treated and the water is sent to CETPs, then the problem will not arise, and the treatment at CETP will be more easy, and that water after treatment can be used again for the transpiration process. So urban cities again creates lot of wastewater from the urbanization. That goes from the household bottling business and from the SWBs. No separate treatment arrangement is there for these two sources. It gets connected at one source only and treated in SWP plant. MBR technology is using it is being used at all the places, and treated water from the SWP is definitely a good standard, but there are no provisions in cities, in urban areas also for reuse of this water. The whole quantity of the water, even in Mumbai, is going to ocean. Even in other cities also, it is getting released to different rivers. We have to change this picture to reuse this water at least for different use, that is for the washing purpose, In industry, it can be very well used for the after the treatment for cooling and industrial washing purpose in industries, where the good amount of good water is being used. We can very well use this treated water for the cooling towers and for industrial washing purpose. Same thing, same water can be used for the gardening and green development. I will request government and even CSIR-NEERI to make a policy that every industrial area, though it is mentioned in all EIs that 33% of the land is to be protected for the green development. No MIDC or no industrial development zone in India, we see the 33% of growth of the green development belt. This is the totally violation of all industrial zones. We have to make a barrier between city and industrial zone by creating 33% of the green belt. And this 33% of the green belt should be enough categorizing the total water created in ETPs, and that can be used as for transpiration of this plant growth. Even domestic reuse of this water for flushing purpose is possible. I have seen many societies, many new coming societies, just like a Loda and other regions and all these things, industrial, urban societies are reusing about 50% of the wastewater for the flushing purpose and lawn development and the green belt development. This model is to be applied all rest of the cities and urban areas, that this all complete treated water has to be digested, has to be used for the green development in the urban areas also. Just like in industry, there should be compulsion for the urban areas for development of 33% of green belt in every city also. There is no compulsion in city for maintenance of green belt, but we have to go for 33% green development for cities and urban areas too. We can use this water for the urban utilities also. That's the cleaning of road and all these things. But this water should not be processed or used to send in rivers and again pollute the rivers by this treated water. High rate transpiration process is a really good process because we treat this complete treated water in again the water cycle. The HRTS process gives the same water is fed to the trees. Trees again to the transpiration release it to atmosphere, and same water vapor when goes in the air, and that again through the cloud, that good water, pure water is available to our complete society, and this HRTS will help again to recycle this complete treated water in to bring it into the nature actually. Green belt importance is the most important. It is a nature. We have to maintain the green belts, particularly at industry and the cities. That is also an important thing. I will stress another point for even for the agriculture also. We see that the green belts have been removed and agriculture is developed. When visited this Sardar Sarovar area and Madhya Pradesh along with the Narmada, I found that the good amount of land is brought into use of agriculture, particularly for the wheat. But along with that, the complete belt of the forestry has been totally removed and it is converted into the agriculture field. While again plowing 3 times in the complete year, the total soil is getting mixed along with the rainwater, and it is getting mixed. It is getting mixed into the Narmada river, and the whole soil is going into the new dams, and it is getting filled. So it is again attention has to be given to create green belt along with the river side for the agriculture. This is the most important thing. Total green belt along with the rivers has been removed in Narmada, along with the Narmada river, which is most dangerous to all dams, just like a Sardar Sarovar and other dams on the river. Same thing is happening for the other dams also. Along with the development of the agriculture, the total forestry along with the agriculture, it is getting damaged, and the binding of the soil is getting totally removed. So it has to be a most attention thing we have to give for fixing of the soil and again recycling of this water through transpiration process. I'll again thank all the NEERI and these people for giving me this opportunity. The transpiration was given most importance for Dr. Juvarkar. Actually, it has helped many of the industries to consume their effluent treatment through the green development. I will give again stress to many industries to use their treated water, to use a green belt development in the industry, and also the urban areas to develop their own green zone for even for the park level, even for the forestry, they can do development of the green zone. One new idea of urban farming is also there. Actually, in Mumbai, you can very well say, along with the railway lines, the vegetables have been developed. There are many problems with that vegetables also because the direct gutter water is being used for the vegetable development. It may be good or not good, but instead of this vegetables, if we produce flowers, different flowers on the this wastewater, it can be really used. We don't eat the water. We don't eat the flowers. Flowers are used for the decoration purpose. Flowers are used for the worship purpose. Every day, about 40 trucks are coming. 40 trucks of flowers are coming to Mumbai. Even 40 trucks of the flowers can be developed on this transpirated water in the city. Definitely, transportation of 40 trucks will be stopped, and urban farming of these flowers, it will be decorated also in the cities, and the flowers can be used not for the consumption, human consumption, but can be used for the decoration purpose as well as for the city consumption purpose in the city. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for your enlightening message that you have said that considering our green industrial policy, India's future lies in the green industrial zones and urban farming. We need to ensure the use of wastewater in urban agriculture. So thanks for highlighting this significant aspect on this day, because the way which Dr. Ashok Juvarkar has showed us that it will be fulfilled if we achieve this kind of things. Now moving to the concluding segment, vote of thanks. May I request our director to have some concluding remarks, please. I think he's. Madam, are you there? Railu, madam?
So on behalf of our director, I would like to thank both the speakers for excellent lectures given by you all, in specific highlighting the importance of HRTS, which was very nicely elaborated by Dr. Vani. I agree with your remarks, sir, that yes, we do carry out good research. We are very good at proof of concept and then demonstration of a few systems and things like that in the field. But when it comes to actually making an impact in the field, yeah, we tend to miss the bus, which definitely needs to be taken care of. And we'll definitely take this particular thing which you have pointed out today, depth value of impacts. That was a very nice way of illustrating how suicidal scientists are when it comes to taking their technologies to field. So it was a very good thing which we definitely learned through my lecture, and I'm sure all my colleagues will try to imbibe what you've been trying to tell us as to how we should take these technologies to the field so that it is sustainable. Yes. coming to the second lecture, we are all familiar with Engineer Lele's work. And here again, sir, you have very nicely illustrated the importance of CTPs and how we need to take it forward and things like that. So we will definitely take into account all the suggestions which have been given by all. And we assure you, sir, that we will try to make a mark, especially in the area of water and wastewater treatment technologies, by way of the different systems and the legacies which we are having at the Institute. But yes, we have to be more visible, though we have done to some extent, especially the HRTS and the CETPs. These are very well demonstrated in the field. But yes, they have to multiply in numbers so that we reach to the millions number, which is possible by way of implementation of these technologies for resolving the issues related to wastewater. So thank you so much. And we look forward to many more lectures from you all, sir. It was definitely very, very enlightening for all of us. Yeah. So Dr. Kumbhare, please.
So, sir, thank you very much. And now moving to the concluding segment, that is vote of thanks, because we cannot offer you tea and coffee as when we physically invite. But we can say that in the next any event that we will be waiting with Corona gets over. So we'll try to have your physical presence, and then we can interact with each other. So now moving to the concluding segment. The director and staff of CSIR-NEERI are indeed grateful to the guest speakers for graciously and readily accepting our invitation. It will be a great pleasure for us to listen them again in our future events. It is true that many efforts have been made towards eco-restoration, but still we need to achieve further. I am sure that this program has been successful in giving a message in that direction. I owe special gratitude to all the participants who have joined us today, including all my colleagues and other who have joined, students and teachers also, because we have been inviting our Kendriya Vidyalaya students in Navodaya Vidyalaya and then other government and semi-government private schools. So I sincerely thank all of them, and I sincerely thank our director, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, director CSIR-NEERI, and Dr. Sadhna Railu, senior most scientist CSIR-NEERI, for guidance and stewardship, our IT team and my entire team for kind support. I also thank those who were associated in organizing this event. Here we conclude this program. Thanks to one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.